Hi folks, a quick message at the beginning of this video. Please watch this video all the way through to the end if you possibly can. I need help. I need serious help. This outboard, this 9.9, this is the one that started it all, basically almost. It's called the Johnson 9.9 with a big secret. The big secret is it's a 15 horse. That's not a secret any longer. But I've got a major problem. I rebuilt the carburetor in this thing, and now it's still not running. It's not running right. And I don't like bringing you guys videos that I can't show you a great running motor at the end of it. This isn't one of those. It's not running yet. This is going to be part one of part two of two-part series. So watch the intro. Stay till the end. I've got a special offer for the person that can solve my problem. Give me the right answer as to what's wrong and what's keeping this from running. Whoever gets it right, watch to the end. Special offer coming. I'll be right back. Howdy folks, welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. If you do recall, we had the Banana out on the water. That was the glass bar boat, the 1972 glass bar that I overhauled, redid the entire interior and had it on the water, and we ran this motor on it. And you guys saw it, witnessed it. This motor was running great and then died. It just absolutely just kept going lower and lower and lower, and then it just finally quit. So I don't know what happened to it. I thought I had all my bases covered, but we also go clear back to April is when I worked on this motor originally. Now I got this motor from a guy, and I did a few things. I put a new pull starter on it, new water pump. So anyway, this thing just died on the water on me. Luckily, I had the trolling motor on the boat working perfectly. That got us back to shore. And this is bugging me because I thought I had this one down. But oh, what I was going to say, you got to keep in mind, I started working on these outboards back in April. And I wasn't very experienced at working on outboards. I call it Michael's Backyard Marina, and I think most of you caught on to what that means. It just means that I like tinkering with boat stuff. I don't actually have a marina here. I've got a small pond in the backyard with a little 12-foot boat you can paddle around. You can cross the pond in a matter of seconds. It's that small. So anyway, I don't know if I did everything right on here. I felt that I did, and all the other motors I worked on since April, it's worked out pretty good. I've got things, the bugs worked out. I have a feeling something electronic went down on this. Now, one thing I did notice is there was extra fuel spilling out of the float bowl too. Well, I noticed some extra gas down in the bottom when I had the cover off, but I also didn't have a spark that I could see. So we're going to go through and double check some things going on here and see if we can figure out what the failure point was on this thing. It bugs me because this is a primo motor, and well, it'll be another one to go in the test tank here and run for a while if I get it running just to see what's going on. Because like I said, we ran it for about 20 minutes and that was it. It gave up, and we got to figure out what's going on. So let's jump in, figure out what's going on with this guy, and we'll move forward from there. First thing I want to do is check for spark here. And you guys can see that. But we got a real good spark. That's a strong spark. So I'm going to rule out spark. Now, what can happen is things can get hot and then fail once they get hot. But the way this started idling down and throttling down, and then, like I said, I can see gas. This thing acts like it would run right now while it's cold. All right, it looks like we had good spark, so I'm gonna try starting it. See all that blue sitting right there? That's what was happening out in the boat. So there's got to be something wrong. Something went wrong with the carb. Let's pull it off and see what we can discover happened. Alrighty folks, we've got the old carburetor off the old 15 horse. And there's a lot of gas on the outside of it. And there should be all the gas on the inside of it. So let's pull this apart and see if I have a suspicion the float could be bad. And that's why it's flooding out. It's letting, it won't shut off the fuel supply and just lets it just keep pumping in and floods it out. What the heck's going on with that screw? That's a weird one. As it was running just fine, and then it just flooded out. Now I got gas coming out of everything around here. And that's not cool. I'm pretty sure I put a carb kit in this. I'll have to go back and review my videos from back in April. Maybe I didn't, but I thought I did. What's going on with that screw? Whew, the gasket's all jacked up. Let's push that out. That sounds fine. I was expecting to hear gas in there, but that's not the case. So what's going on? Well, something, that gasket ain't right. It shouldn't have wrinkled like that. We're gonna go ahead and pull this top cover off to see if we see anything unusual under here. Well, the only obvious thing I can find is that possibly, looking at how this gasket's all wrinkly and swole out of shape, it's just kind of went nuts with the fuel. And I only use regular fuel. I don't use any alcohol in any of my fuel. But you can see here that I can't even get it to fit back over where it was. But by the time you do, there's a good chance that this gasket was rubbing against my float and not allowing it to shut off properly. So I have a feeling that's what it was. I'm going to go with that theory at this point. I'm going to order another gasket kit. But, and I might take, I don't know, that shouldn't have done that. See how wrinkly that is around there? That shouldn't have done that. It should have remained flat. I've taken plenty of gaskets off, rubber gaskets even, and they just hold their shape. That one just has been impacted by something not cool. I'm pretty sure that's caused my issue though. And we're going to have to fix that. So let's get us another carb kit ordered and get that in here and replace it. All right, boys and girls, we're back. Almost a week and a half later. Had a little trouble getting some parts in. But as we left this carburetor, we're suspecting that this carburetor gasket, I know it's only been literally minutes or even less or seconds since you guys seen this part, but this gasket looked really swollen. Now, since it's dried out, it's almost gone back into shape. It's still a little wrinkly around the edges, but that thing, when I first took it off, was so fat that when I held it up over the holes here and here, it was touching the float. Now, I did a little research on what I purchased way back when, because I had to start looking back. I actually rebuilt this carburetor back in April. Went through and put a new gasket kit and all that fun stuff. Well, there again, I was in my younger years, earlier this year in April. That would have been what, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months ago. Learned that don't always buy the cheapest kit on the market. That's what I did here. I bought it was like a $15 or $16 kit, and it failed me because this rubber is not compatible with fuel. And like I said, I don't use alcohol. I use straight up regular gasoline with no ethanol added. And this is what it did. This one wasn't exposed as much. And how this came to be and how I thought it was going to work is, keep in mind, when I put this together new, rebuilt, ran it for, I probably ran it, golly, couldn't have been 15, 20 minutes, and everything was running fine, I think. I can't remember how long I had it in the tank. I'd have to go back on the previous videos and see. But it wasn't enough soak time for this gasket to start having issues at that moment in time. And then the first time it hit fuel back in it again was almost 6 months later. I introduced fuel back in the carburetor because I always run these dry when I'm not using them. Anyway, that had enough time from between the time I test ran it at home and then I go out in the lake, because I test ran it at home, I didn't run it empty. I take it to the lake, we fire it up, so it's soaking in gas there for about an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours before I got it in the water. Another 2 minutes later, or 20 minutes later, this thing's interfering with the float, causing some issues. That's what I'm hanging my hat on. When I put this new kit on, it better fire up and run with no issues. Now I'm going to show you a difference. This came out of a $16 kit. This came out of a $28 kit. As you can see, this is, you can't see probably, this is way more substantial piece of gasket material. This is going to hold its shape. This should not have any bad reaction with fuel, because this is more of a name brand. I'm not going to give you guys the name brands. I'm not going to tell you what kit I bought. I can just tell you, if you go onto the website, let's just call it Blamazon. This one was $16, this was $28. And I can see the rest of the components in this kit seem very, very substantial, very much different quality of materials that this is made out of. I'm actually going to go ahead and replace every piece of rubber that came in this kit with the new kit, because the new kit, I think overall, is 100% better quality. Now, there's nothing wrong with this float whatsoever, so I'm going to reuse this float, because why wouldn't I? And as you can see here, this kit came with a new low rubber hose. I can replace this one, and I think the other one might have as well. Actually, I don't remember if it did or didn't. So, and then we got this new piece of rubber that goes into here. So I'm going to put this new piece of rubber in here, because when it comes to rubber in this old gasket kit, I don't trust anything that went on with it. So I'm going to replace all that with brand new stuff. Why wouldn't I? With that being said, let's quit talking and start working. I'm going to put the new float needle in there too. Why not? I've got it. Let's get this one out. Let's put this one in, and let's talk turkey. Let's go ahead and take this float seat out, set it off to the side. Let's see if this one threads in. As you can see here, this had a clear gasket underneath the float seat. I'm going to put the fiber one that came with this one on it. Hopefully this threads in here just fine, hey? There we go. If that's snug down, next order of business, let's go ahead and stick this float. Now, make sure you stick this float in. See that little curve right there? There's a little curve right there. You want to make sure that's on this little side over here. Now, before we put this back in, we need to put this on. I'm going to go ahead. Wow, that came out. There's a little jet on the side of that thing too. I wonder if I can get that back in there like I want. It should. That should just, it looks like it's the same length as this one. Once I put the bends and the curves in it. Oh yeah, that's a good kit. We'll stick that back over this little orifice here. It should slide right back on. That's about it there. Be very careful with this piece. There we go. Put that back on there. We'll shove this piece back into here. Whoops. That slides over here like this. Alrighty, we're going to also put a new gasket under here. I had to push that back up in there. I had to pull that back off to get this back installed properly. So we got that. Goes on there something like that. I'm going to have to use my little handy dandies here to get that hose back on. There, I don't want it with a kink in it. That's what's trying to kink on me here. There, it looks like a gentle curve if I do it like that. Looks like that should work. Yeah. I think that'll fly. Okay. Happy with that. There's also a gasket that sits right on top of here. Whoop. Just like this. So that's all trapped. I think this will actually sit. Okay, here we go. See, it's got a little hole right here. I think that'll just sit right up in there. Like that. So that'll hold that in place for me. Okay, that works. So everything goes in there and gets trapped down in place. And hopefully I can get it so it sits. Yeah, that should sit right square down in there like that. Looks like that works. That's gonna go down just like that. No kinks. And then this will sit on there just like that. With that little jabber do there. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, so that all just compresses and seats. Okay, I think that's gonna fly. Yeah, here's the one that was in there. As you can see, it had a reaction to the gas too. See how all bulged out it is? It shouldn't be like that. That had a bad reaction with the fuel as well. Sad but true. All right, well, we got a little float clip here. We got a little needle. This is gonna go on like that. So let's go ahead and hang this back in there. It doesn't fall off, that little clippy there. So now when I hang this on here, it actually stays. It's going to do what it's supposed to do, because ideally the pressure will help lift it, but then when the float goes down, the float will actually help pull it via that little spring as well. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. Now, let's put that back in. Now what I am seeing here, I'm looking at this float line, and it's kind of angled down when it's assembled, and I don't want it to be angled down. So I'm going to pull that back out and see if I can't put just a little tweak in it. Now we got it. That's what I want to see. It settles right in there parallel. I'm going to roll with that. I'm happy with that. Now I've got to put my gasket on here. Now there was a gasket underneath this piece. There's a little round gasket in there I replaced. There's this gasket in the top here. Don't forget that one. It came with the kit. And we're going to go ahead and see, this is kind of going a little bit crooked. This is sitting a little bit, so I'm kind of minding that while I'm doing this. So when I put this on, I'm putting it on there a little crooked. So I can, my goal is to get that little rectangle to settle in. And I can feel it kind of settle in there. And then I can rotate it and push it down in place. And that seems to sit in there real nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put some screws back in. I'm not tightening them all the way down yet. Just bringing them down till they just bottomed out. See, I can hear that float moving in there like it should. This screw has got something going on with it. There's something right down in there. Don't let my Phillips sit in there like I want it to. I gotta take and blow that out and see what's going on. That's why I had trouble getting that one out, because it had something a little jacked up in there. Now, a lot of people will take these little tags, carburetor tags, and they'll pitch them. But I think it's nice to have. They don't interfere with anything. And it helps identify your carburetor. Why not keep it? Whoa, flying screwdrivers. Oh. That thing got wings in a hurry, didn't it? All right. So once you get all of them in there, I just like to give each one of them a little bit of squeeze, just to kind of evenly torque that gasket down. You can definitely tell this is a higher quality gasket. It's firmer. It's not that soft red rubber. Well, time will tell though. Yeah, that other red gasket, that's swelled up with the doggone. Everything's floating and moving like it should inside. And just to go back to where it was set, I want to go, there's a half a turn. Wow. That was backed out about three turns. I might have been monkeying with it when I had it on the boat too. When it wasn't running, I was just grasping at straws. I'm gonna back it out my 1.5 turn as usual to see if we can get it running, and we'll fine tune it from there. But I want to replace this rubber gasket in here because I don't have a lot of confidence in it. It came with the other kit, and the other kit was nothing like it needed to be. So I'm going to pop that little jobber there out. Get my little pick in here. And that seems to be okay. Don't seem to be anything wrong with that. But I'm going to remove all doubt that anything's suspect, because I got a good, better name brand. Just gotta make sure that's bottomed out a little bit there. There, it's in there good. Now we'll go ahead and screw this thing back through it. What I'm gonna do is bottom this out and back it out. I might just back it out 2 turns, because some of these old outboards, 2 strokes, they like it to be a little rich to start, so I'll just back it out 2 turns from bottom to out, and we'll go from there. And we'll get her fine-tuned in. Because this motor does purr like a kitten. It does run really good. Until the carburetor, cheap carburetor kit, wrecks your day. Trying to get it in there, just should feel that. There's bottom right there. So I'm gonna turn this in orientation so it's up. So there's 1, 2 turns backed out. That's how we'll reinstall it. It's been too many days that I haven't heard a motor start in this shop. Nothing worse than waiting around for parts to show up on your doorstep. One of these days I'll stock enough parts that I don't have to worry about it. I'll just go to the shelf and pull off a part and we'll go put it on. Alrighty, we got all the screws back in, all assembled. I think I got everything right as it's gonna be. All this seems to work as it should. So let's reassemble it back onto the motor. Okay, so we got the carburetor. We've already put a new gasket on here. Got that in place. I'm gonna go ahead and get this kind of started on there. This has just enough room to sneak the nuts by it. Boy, this ain't a lot of room for these old fat fingers to get in there. Wow. I got it started. Ha! All right. Can I get lucky twice? Can I get lucky twice? Oh. Get a little screwdriver action in here to help hold it in place while I try to turn it. Hey. That went on too easy. Makes me think I might be forgetting something. Hope not. All right. I'll go ahead and get this strap out of my way. Now we got to get the starter back in place without letting it come completely unwound on me. As you can see, I put a little bit of a clamp on here to hold things while I had it apart, so nothing went flying apart on me. Now remember, the trick here is that little tab's got to go in a little hole right there while putting that bolt in there. That's its position. So we got to maintain. All the while, if I can get this in position, not let the spring escape, which it's trying to do right now on me. like the bolt sticking through just a touch. Kind of holds things together while I'm trying to get things in position. So that's got to go just right about in that area. Come on. Somewhere in there, almost like that. This has got to be on the right side of things here. Oh, come on. There we go. By golly, I got it. You want to make sure that little spring's on the outside because that's supposed to keep that out of there unless you accidentally have the throttle open. You see how that comes in? It'll keep you from starting it when you got fully engaged throttle. Safety feature. The last thing you want to do is have wide open throttle, be standing up pulling on it if for some reason you're standing up trying to start it. And the doggone thing just takes off on you. Throws you out of the back of the boat, and then your boat leaves you. At that point in time, you better hope you got your life jacket on because you're going to be in the water for a little while trying to catch up to the boat. Okay. Looks like everything's in its right place. Yeah, yeah. We like that. We like that a lot. Now, that's tightened up. Snug enough. I'm ready to try to start this thing. No ifs, ands, buts, or coconuts there. Let's get these straps out of the way. Don't get anything tangled up in the straps. Straps, 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 lifting straps. I'll probably move your camera view here in a minute. Let's get the fuel line connected. Let's pump up some fuel here. All right, give her a little choke to start with. Why is there fuel pouring out of it? I still got fuel down here. That's bull crap. Not sure what's going on with that. Now she ain't gonna run. She's flooded. Okay, thank you for watching it all the way through, and I'm hoping you made it this far. You had to watch the whole video to see what I've done to this thing since I've gotten it back. This is the one that let me down on the water. When I had it on the glass bar boat that I restored, I had it out in the water. This is the one that let me down. This is it's a 1987. Yeah, 1987. No, it's 1988. It's 1988 15 horse Johnson. It's got a 9.9 hood on it. And what has been done to it, I'll catch you up as to what I've done to it so far to help you. You guys are going to help me solve this one. And the person that helps me solve the problem or guesses what's wrong with it, because I may have already solved the problem by the time you guys send me your comments and stuff, but whoever gets it right in the comments, leaves me a like on the video and leaves me a comment, will get a $50 gift certificate mailed to them. But you got to get the problem resolved properly. And I will, on the final video, when this is running again, I will announce who wins the prize. Because when I do the next video and it's released, that means it's going to be running like a champ again. This one has got me a little bit stumped. I've gone through, it's got great spark, it's got great compression, and this has got electronic ignition in it. Everything's in great shape, except what's happening is the carburetor, and I just rebuilt the carburetor, as you just saw in this video, rebuilt the carburetor again, and there again, rebuilding one of these carburetors just means I put new gaskets in it, right? Everything seems solid and sound, but it won't run for me. As you saw, I tried to run it, it just kind of dies. And right below the carburetor, there's gas pooling underneath, which is really weird because all my gaskets are good and tight, the float set's good, and it stumps me. The other thing that's wrong with this thing, and I want to show you this because this may be a clue, it may not be a clue, but I want to show you what's going on. Now this I feel is a problem. If you look at this right here, see how free that bounces and moves? Look at this gap right here, what happens, see? And I don't have to move that much. My other Johnsons that I have are a lot more solid than this. And the bad part, this is the awful part, the two bolts that hold this to be in tight, I'll show you where they're located on another motor that I have the power head off of. Now I hope this doesn't gross anybody out because we're going to look down the neck hole. Obviously if we pull the power head off this motor, this has got to be the neck hole, right? See those two bolt heads right there? There's one there and one there. And this is all in a rubber mount down there. So I've got to pull the power head off to figure out why it's so loose, because this one's nice and tight. And this is where the two bolts are that hold the handle on nice and tight. So I have a feeling something's gone wrong there. I don't think this has anything to do with my problem, obviously, but I got to fix that anyway. So I'm just letting you know that's going to be pulled apart. So I am going to get deep into that motor over there and figure out why it's not running right and why it ran perfectly and then went to crap in a very short amount of time. So now that you've seen that, that's probably not the associated problem that's going on with this. This seems like it should be carburetor problem only. And the other thing it's kind of weird is when it was firing up and running, you know, when you saw it bubbling along a little bit there, it was strange because there was zero bubbles coming out the exhaust. Because normally when you start it up like that, you're pumping air, right? There is bubbles coming up in the test tank. There was zero bubbles. It was just, I got the prop to spin, but that was the only thing it was just returning water with absolutely no bubbling whatsoever out the exhaust. So that's got me kind of puzzled. Like something's got the exhaust partially blocked or mostly blocked. So, and that's what's causing some back pressure in the whole system and causing this carburetor to act like a leaky, dirty, rotten carburetor. So this is the first time I've done this with you folks. I appreciate all the subscribers. I do appreciate all the comments. I'm looking for help on this one, and I'm willing to pay for the help. And like I said, if more than one of you get the answer right, I will put all the right answers into a hat, draw out a hat, and we'll have a random winner at that point in time. But you can't win if you don't play. So take your best stab at help me troubleshooting with what I've told you on this motor, because right now you know what I know is that good spark, good compression. I got clear fuel line. I know there's fuel going into the carburetor, so the fuel pump works great. And even if it didn't work great, I can pump it up and it usually runs and it would run it out and I would see that, but that's not happening. But what's happening is fuel is coming out of the front of the carburetor or somewhere. I don't actually see it directly running out of the front of the carburetor, but it's coming out and it's leaking down onto the little pan underneath. And you see a nice little pool of blue two-stroke mixed fuel. And that's what's going on there. So if you got any questions, leave them in the comments as well as to what the heck am I doing? So let's wrap it up here. I'm going to give away a $50 gift certificate. Basically a debit card, $50 debit card to the person that guesses what's wrong with this motor. Helps me troubleshoot it, obviously. And even if you don't help me troubleshoot, if by the time I post the part 2 of this video, that I'll have the answer. And if your answer was matched up with what I found wrong, that still qualifies as a correct answer. I'm going to put that name in my hat, and we're going to shake it up online. We're going to pull it out of the hat, and we're going to read it out loud. And if you're watching my videos, you will have to send me an email. And my email on my homepage, my email address is on my homepage. You'll have to send me an email and say that you got it, and we will make contact that way. So I can get your mailing address, because we don't want that out in the public. I can get your mailing address, and then I can send you the gift card as a reward for helping me troubleshoot this 15-horse outboard. This is a great motor. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, folks, I hate to end the video without having a motor running, but you're going to help me get this one running, and we're going to go from there. So you might see several videos between this video and part 1 and part 2 of this particular video, because I've got other projects going on. I'll be doing videos on those as well while I'm messing with this one. Plus, I want to take some time to watch your guys' comments to help me troubleshoot and help me target what's going on. One thing's for sure, I am going to pull the power head off of this, because I got to go after this loose handle issue anyway. But that's the time when I've got it apart, is to, if you think it might be reed valves, if you think it might be gasket issues, if you think it might be something else, shoot. And then while I got the power head off, now's the time to look for it. I do have an entire gasket kit for this motor, so I can pull this motor completely down and put it back together with the gasket kit that I also have in stock. If I have to go that far, I will. So thank you folks for watching. I'm excited. I'm so excited to get your feedback on this one and get your comments and suggestions. I think it's gonna be fun for both of us. And until then, you guys get out there and have some fun, and ask yourself, what'd you do today? Did I get out and accomplish something? Do I have something tangible that I did? If you did, great, because a feeling of accomplishment is an awesome thing. This is Michael, folks, and until I see you on part 2 for this one, or the next video, obviously, this is Michael, and I'm out.